We are
Hey,
Hey,
hey.
Dave.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good. I'm just going to even it in. Welcome everyone who's currently watching. We like to start this off slow, just to make sure people can catch up and watch it. But welcome to the Justice League, the Zack Snyder's Justice League chapter breakdown show. Now, Rick, initially we were just going to do a review on the movie as a whole. Yeah. But certainly because they broke this movie, 4-hour movie, down to chapters, we thought, why not focus in on each chapter? So each week, this show is going to go through all the 6 chapters and the epilogue nice. Of Justice League. We will talk about each chapter. But before we do that, I think it would be remiss of us not to probably give our overall thoughts on what we thought of this Justice League. And then before we get to the thoughts too, I mean, let's just talk about, it's a miracle that this thing even exists.
Very, very
Rick, for a long time, we were rumored that there was this cut available, but a lot of the big punters, especially on YouTube, were coming out and saying, look, it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as Zack Snyder's Justice League, and we'll never get to see it.
Yep.
What they underestimated was the fan base, and they started an online petition, started a charity organization focused on mental health and suicide prevention. And with just this incredible amount of hard work that all the fans put into it and all the money they raised, HBO, I think it was just a situation of all these things happening at once. You started getting Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot on Twitter saying released a Snyder Cut back in 2019, I think it was. And just all of a sudden, we get this announcement that, hey, we were going to get it, which was just a crazy thing to think it was happening, and we would get it on HBO Max. It's fair to say that the first Justice League is a very divisive film. I don't think it wasn't what people were hoping or expecting. So it was a bit of a disappointment, I would say. From my perspective, I did not enjoy the film. And I will say, after watching Justice League, it's very evident how much that original version was just chopped up to pieces.
It was butchered. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you think we'd ever get to this day, Rick, where you'd be sitting there and we're talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League?
No, I mean, the first one came out was 2017 when that came out, and we both, as everyone knows, we go to the movies together. And and it's fair to say it wasn't a very good movie at all.
I think, and I can't remember how I reviewed it at the time. Because we did it back in 2017. You'd have to go back through the channel and find that review. If we were positive about it, it didn't age well. We maybe have been caught up in the moment of it. But certainly, here we are.
Look, and with everything that has gone on with this movie, we wouldn't think it was going to end up here now, which is fantastic, and it's such an honor and blessing to actually see this and be able to see it at home, which is great. Would love to see it as a theatrical trailer. Would love to see it if that ever comes here to Australia or they ever release it.
A theatrical release.
Yeah, in the movies, definitely would love to see it because 4 hours like that, just
And before we start getting into the chapter breakdown, let's give our overall thoughts of the movie. I want you to go first, Rick. Give me your overall thoughts without getting into details of what you thought of the Snyder Cut.
I don't want to go into full details like we said, Jace, but overall, just absolutely amazing. So much involved, and you can see the difference between the two movies, and so much character development, which was fantastic to see, and even a lot of other characters that are involved actually so true to the comics as well, which is great to see. They're happening that as well. Everything about this movie, like the 4 hours, a lot of people were complaining about, it's 4 hours, but the 4 hours, it was so enjoyable from start to finish. It just flowed, which was fantastic. And everything came together so well in this. And there was a few little things I nitpicked, but overall, just fantastic and definitely worth a watch. It's just, masterpiece.
Yeah, look, I actually watched it day of release, and I went on Facebook very quickly and put my opinion, and I do think it was an absolute masterpiece. I gave it, I think, a 9 out of 10 at the time, and I've watched it a couple more times since then, and I stand by that rating. And you mentioned about character development, and we have massive changes in character development, and even without getting to, but even Steppenwolf, which we'll talk about now, coming up in Shape and Breakdown, but
yeah.
So much more is fleshed out. There's so much more logic that kind of connects together now. We don't jump from one situation to the other. And I think he's delivered exactly what his vision was, which was just a wonderful thing and a rare thing, because that doesn't happen. Normally, do we get a director's true sense of what he wanted to put on film? You know, and this film would not be able to be released at the cinema. And I'll tell you why. Because you don't make any money. Remember, you've got to have a cycle of so many movies need to play a day for a cinema to make money. Now, if you've got a 4-hour film, that basically means that you're going to miss half of your theatrical intake because you can only show this film so many times in a day. But it is made for look, the reason we have this square aspect ratio, which I know has been very controversial out there, is that there were two reasons for it. One was for the IMAX experience, which is more of a square format, so it looked fantastic. But also, Zack Snyder came out and said, look, he stylistically he wanted it square because he wanted his heroes to fill the frame, and he thought that he could keep with that aspect ratio. They could contain all those characters in the frame, and the heroes look tall. And honestly, after a couple of minutes, I'm not even noticing.
You don't notice it. You don't. That's right.
No,
you don't. No, it didn't bother me one bit. So,
there you go. All right, let's get stuck into the chapter breakdown. And this one's an interesting one because there is a little bit of a beginning before it kicks into the actual first chapter. But the first chapter is called "Don't Count on It, Batman." And wow, what a really evocative beginning we get straight away. And we get reminded of the film that is also controversial, and that's Batman v Superman. And we just kick straight into the gear into this, into the ending of that, where Superman, has been killed. So, and we've got that scene where you see him in his last dying breaths. He just exudes these noises of sheer pain. And what's so cool, what I loved about it was the waves.
Yep.
The waves of the voice, and that travels across the planet. And it's a good way to introduce the different areas of where all the heroes are coming from, because it goes all the way to Themyscira. It goes underwater too, to Atlantis. And it affects the mother boxes. So straight off the bat, we have a clear understanding why the mother boxes are doing what they're doing. It isn't just some random dude looking for it. No, they're being triggered by the sounds of Batman dying.
Yeah, and
so you see that. Yeah, well, you see that with the stops, because just a side note, what I love is that Justice League, the title itself is Justice League. The frame is Cyborg's back to camera. And I love it because, as we'll go into later, Cyborg is a massive part of this film. It is the heart and soul of this film. What a great way. You are setting up the movie plot immediately into this. Straight away we know that, hey, we're reminded Superman's dead. And the mother boxes are now reacting to the Kryptonian dying, which is going to trigger all these sequences, and I just love that that tiny little opening is just so well done. I thought, and what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a great little setup, and and it's a good refresher and reminder of what actually happened and to leading into that movie and going from it, and that whole, and it's like you said, it is a very powerful scene, and you kind of forget how much that scene affects a lot of people in that, seeing Superman die for the first time on the big screen, and the kryptonite coming through his heart. Yeah. It was great, so good. And then obviously leading into the first chapter,
Yeah. Well,
and
before we even get to that, we also, it takes a bit of a beat, and we're watching Bruce Wayne climb a mountain with a horse. And it kicks straight into that, and we're now kicking right into where he goes down to that village in Norway. And again, straight away, you're blessed immediately with the fact that things are longer, takes are longer. We're getting to sit with certain things in this film, and
it all makes sense. It's like holes. We're filling holes up of the previous movie. It it makes total sense.
The first thing we get from chapter 1, Don't Count on It, Batman, is that scene of Bruce Wayne walking into that small village. Which, Rick, reminded me of the fact that I reckon in the original Justice League, that original opening scene with him going to the village, and then there's another scene later on we'll talk about where he grabs the guy off the boat. And
yes, that's correct.
I reckon they merged them in the original film because I don't reckon there was two separate scenes.
It was changed slightly as well. Yeah.
So this is far more fleshed out where, Bruce Wayne's trying to recruit. I mean, at this point,
that's the whole
it's
point.
very clear he's recruiting. He's trying to find the people he needs because he has a sense there's a threat coming. He doesn't know, but he has a sense there's a threat coming, and he needs to build his team. But it was so nice to see that opening scene with Aquaman and Bruce Wayne just play out, just in a more kind of, it wasn't rushed. It just felt right.
No, that's right. Yeah. And they were talking, Momoa talking in his different language and that whole scene. And it wasn't, Icelandic, but it wasn't, it wasn't a funny scene with some certain, they cut a lot of that stuff out, which was great. And it was just smooth and nice. And it was actually refreshing to actually watch that, if that makes sense.
And I think you bring up a good point. And as we will discuss over the times, there is humor in this film, but it's so sparingly done, and rightfully so, because let's face it, Rick, this is an epic. This is not a Marvel film, and I'm not degrading Marvel in any way or DC in any way, but it's so nice to see such a distinctly different approach to these type of superheroes. And already, I'm engaged straight off the bat. I don't feel, you do, I reckon in the first 10, 15 minutes, you do feel, that's longer. So you are, by very nature, comparing. You are. You just can't help that, But it was a great introduction to Arthur Curry as a character, because Arthur Curry, at this point in time, he's a lost soul. He doesn't want to embrace his heritage. He's actually escaping from any responsibility he has from Atlantis. So we're getting to see Arthur Curry way before that Aquaman film kind of plays out. One of the things I also love about the scene is Bruce Wayne doesn't get him.
No.
He says no. I'm not doing it.
Took his cash and
I do have a bit of a question though. It's like, do you think every time he goes to save someone and that, like he just throws his clothes on the beach? Like, what happens? I mean, we see the chick who sings a song and picks his jumper up, but it's like every time he gets on the land, he's got new clothes. Has he got like wardrobes located everywhere?
It's there's no thought process behind it. It was only just for the ladies. Yeah, but it's funny though. But you're right. But great.
I mean, the scene is really much about the fact that Bruce is trying to recruit and he's not successful, and I love that. I absolutely loved it. Which is double down again, because the next thing we get straight after that, Rick, is Batman. Well, actually, no. Before we get there, let me just go back. Sorry, mate. I'm just going to have a look at my notes here. I want to make sure we're covering this correctly. What did you think of the song? Did you think that was a bit much, them doing their Icelandic chant?
Kind of like
afterwards?
a sea shanty type chant. That's how I took it.
Sea shanty?
That's the Icelandic chant? That's
well,
what I mean? Back in
some sort of traditional kind of Icelandic chant, I thought it was, but I think it's about paying due respect to Arthur Curry, because he is coming in, he's bringing food, and he's
helping
he's
people,
doing the right thing.
Does.
Yeah, which was,
It was a little bit weird, but I get where they're going with it. But
yeah, but I think what it does is it enhances this kind of mythological, epicness of this movie. So, but we go straight from there and we cut to a next scene of, unfortunately, Martha Kent she's had to bail from the farm, and she's in the car, and mate, she's having to leave, and the bank has called foreclosure. So, which means everybody is in a real dark. As we're seeing this unfold, we've got a lot of characters that are in very dark places from the death of Superman. She's lost her husband and her son,
and now she's lost her house,
and she's lost everything. So her identity, in a way, is lost. Which is a tragic thing to happen. But they're setting up the stakes of this movie quite well in such an early set period, And then, really, I think what's really great, though, is we go straight to Lois Lane after that, which is an interesting scene. Well, actually, before we go to that, I'm going all over the place here. I'm looking at my notes. I did love that scene where you actually see Bruce Wayne land on the chopper and he's meeting Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's got off the chopper. Yeah, and Alfred's saying, "Can't we do this somewhere warm like Jamaica next time?"
Oh yeah, he's like, yeah.
But he was talking about recruiting. Oh, how did you go with Arthur? Arthur said no. And they go, clearly a guy in a cave is not a good recruiter, so he lives in a cave. So it was good. But which I loved was like this is how rich Bruce Wayne. He's got his own plane, which of course is black.
He's a billionaire. That's
he's a billionaire. He has to be like that.
That's all he is. He's just a billionaire,
which is kind of crazy. But there you go. But yeah, mate, I so far so good. It's great, And the introduction of Lois Lane, we get to see her obviously dealing with the fact that her, the man of her, the man she loves is now gone. And we get to see that it seems to be some sort of habitual thing. She seems to be going to that park where he died
every day,
and is visiting him
every day. Seeing the guy give the coffee to the police officer.
What's so important about that police officer? Who is he, Rick?
Who is he?
I'm really now. If you don't know who this guy is, mate, I'll question your comic book knowledge. Your film knowledge. You don't know the cop that she gives the coffee to? Do you know who that dude is?
The first as a character, the first movie.
Like who was that actor? What's he been in?
Oh, the Martin.
It's Jimmy Olsen, the guy that played the original Jimmy Olsen in the Superman movie. He plays the cop.
What
Jimmy Olsen from Superman the movie in 1978?
Oh shit!
Plays the photographer. Yeah, of course, Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
But it sets up that scene. Most importantly, it does set up the scene where, Lois is clearly struggling as well. We're getting to see more characters in the fact they're not working well. And then we get a hard cut to London, mate. We go straight moving into London, which is, holy moly, Rick, I love this scene. Now, it's a scene we had seen in Justice League, but wow, did they flesh it out.
At this capacity.
I think this scene is exceptionally important too because it sets a precedent in this movie that I think most of us were really shocked and surprised at, that they've gone this way, and that is the level of violence.
Well, that's correct. So when the first one came out, it was rated 13 PG-13. Here, it's rated an R in America. So it's. And
what we're talking about is the robbery scene in London, where basically they go in and there's a bunch of terrorists who're not going to rob anything. They're just going to put the terrorist mark on it. Wonder Woman comes in to save the day, and again, it's the same scene we did see in the Josh Whedon, Justice League. We'll call it Justice League to separate it from Justice League. So in the Justice League version, we got to see Wonder Woman do her stuff, but in this version, man, it's violent. Like she's hitting dudes. Sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
The score. They changed the score, which made that scene It was
The whole
fantastic.
score's been changed.
It
The whole
really
score.
my God. It just really made you go, she's kicking
I must
ass.
admit the score is pretty incredible. Entire thing. Junkie XL came back and redid the whole lot. But what is incredible about the scene is the level of violence. I mean, flat out, Wonder Woman is killing people.
Yeah.
She's killing them because there are scenes where she's hitting dudes. They're hitting the wall and there's blood splatters. There's blood splatters, and it's dope. And it sets the precedent of this movie is not holding back regards to violence.
No.
You know, this isn't our heroes just put people. No, they're doing what needs to be done, and unfortunately, people's lives are going to be taken from it. So, as much as it is violent, Rick, it's also a beautiful scene too, because I really love the bit at the end when she's, she killed all the robbers, the thing's blowing up, and she gets all the, students say, "It's okay now, you can get up, you can get up." And there's that young girl who doesn't want to get up. And, Wonder Woman's going, "It's okay." And she goes, "Well, can I be like you one day?" And I just loved it because I thought straight after that, Gal Gadot did a really great job. And we'll all pick on Gal Gadot's acting, but she's not the greatest actor in the world. But she did really well in the scene because I thought after she killed all those guys, you really got to see her warmth for the people. I reckon she really exuded her humanity in that scene, which I thought was just beautiful. I really did. Yeah. So I absolutely love that scene because, of course, it was extended. We know it was extended.
Yeah.
So, which was great. And obviously we're going to go into a lot about extensions of scenes.
That's the whole.
And you will find there'll be a common theme here, Rick. We'll all go, the scene's better because of it.
Yeah. It is.
But yeah, what did you think of that? Did you like the?
I loved it. I loved the. And then you have that one shot when she's on that statue like a Liberty Bell or whatever she's standing on, and she's looking down and seeing it, and then when she, because they changed, like you said, they changed the score, and when she came in, I was just so excited to actually.
You got the theme. You got the Wonder Woman theme, mate.
Just bang! And when she came in and that new score, the new music, everything, it was so good.
The Wonder Woman theme is so iconic. Like, I think it's one of the great hero themes of all time.
Yeah.
It's up there with the original Superman theme. It's up there with even more than Batman. I just really love Wonder Woman's little guitar riff. But, again, we start chopping and changing all over the place in this. And so there's a lot going on in chapter 1.
There's a lot.
And the next bit is we go back to Themyscira. And which again is a long scene where we see they go straight into this area where they keep one of the mother boxes, which is completely has been under guard for thousands of years. Like, they're constantly on guard. But this is where we get our villain. Our main, not our big bad villain, but the main antagonist for this movie, and we get a completely redone Steppenwolf.
He looks amazing.
And what was your reaction on the design straight away?
Mate, when I saw him, I just thought, wow, he looks 1,000 times better. His armor, even the CG, he looks so much better. A lot of the fight scenes especially in this fight scene here, were just so smooth and so well done. He just
his character has motivation,
more
well
depth to
thought
him
out. Yeah, there's depth in him. What he's trying to do. That he's suffering in his own way. He's just trying to break, a responsibility he has to dark side. And you know what? We don't fucking hear in this thing, and I'm so glad, mother. Because that's all he says. The original version, mother. We know who the hell's mother, Yeah. But here we know he's, he's here to grab the box, And what an introduction. We get some parademons in that tomb. What a great little fight scene that is. There's one point where you've got all these Amazonian women just all over him. And he's just picking them up and he's throwing them off and he's just going hard. And I thought it was just wonderful, I thought it was great. It had a lot of intensity, that scene. And what a cool little safety system they have. When she bails. And they're going to break those logs.
They're going to just do it. They just, it's like, just do it. All right, no worries.
Leave them there. Wonderful. And then straight after that, we get this amazing chase scene.
On the two horses, they're out. And,
yeah. I think what they did really well with this scene too was establish how unstoppable Steppenwolf is. Because as much we know how strong the Amazonian women are and how much powerful warriors they are, really, they're just running. They're just barely getting away with everything they do. They're just running.
Just running on horses, and they've got their archery and whatever. And he's noticed that when you see him when they shoot him with their bow and arrows, and he's just
they shoot him like 20 fucking arrows at one point.
And he's just, he
flexes and they just fly off. But it's clear to say that he gets the mother box. He grabbed the first mother box, and away he goes. And all of a sudden, you're left with a situation where you've got, well, hang on a sec. Just bear with me. I just wanted to read something here. Yeah. So you got that really great scene too. What I wanted to mention was, he would have, if those Amazon women, because there was a whole army coming down, Lord of the Rings style, they were coming down, right? If they had got there in time, do you think he gets away with the mother box? Because I just think he was that powerful. I don't think anything was going to stop him from getting that first mother box from Themyscira.
We saw that when they're all on him, they just nah. With the motivation that he knew that he needs this box to conquer what he needs to do, and he'll stop at nothing to get it.
I mean, we don't know at this stage, but knowing it after the fact, that rewatching it, that the fact that he has his own reasons to be doing this. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to. Get back in Darkseid's favor. So I love the fact that he's now got a core motivation and he has some depth to him, so it's wonderful. But what a cracking opening. And that literally finishes chapter 1. But you're going to remember, chapter 1 doesn't finish for 35 minutes into it.
Which is great. And there was 2 epic battle scenes in there, fight scenes.
In this first chapter, you've established where all the characters are. We know Batman's trying to put a team together. We know that Arthur Curry doesn't want to take any. He's just a lone man. We know Wonder Woman now is back in society after Batman v Superman, trying to do the right thing, living in London. And that's really great. We haven't been introduced, though, to Cyborg or Flash at this point.
Nope.
But we have been introduced to the main antagonist being Steppenwolf. And I thought, wowee, what an incredible job they did setting that up. In the first chapter, I mean, by then, Rick, the first time I saw it, I'm like, I am fucking in.
You're in from the first, yeah.
Like I just thought it was just so much better played out, and it just everything felt like it was running its natural course, and nothing felt bloated.
No.
Nor did I feel that they were cheap. It was just perfect, Yeah. But chapter 1
it was great. And like I said before, I just, the whole fight scenes and everything was just done so well, and it all made sense and it all flowed. And like you said, it went for 35 minutes. But fuck, man, did you just go, man? That was just awesome. Yeah, it really did. So
I mean, we've done our. There you go, Rick. I mean, chapter 1 down straight away, and chapter 2. I mean. Well, I don't think the chapters are as long going forward. I think they do keep them around the 20, 25-minute mark.
Around that.
But I mean, I loved it. I thought it was just, one of the things going back to Steppenwolf, though, is just like, there are certain lines that he gives, like, what do you guys fight for? He's talking such inevitabilities. It's like, because he's like, I've done this 100,000 times. And every single time, your defenders don't work. The world's fall. And it's almost like there's a sense of he's tired of this whole thing. And I really like that, I like that. I loved it. I thought it was just.
And as you go on, obviously we won't go into it, but as we go on, you see a bit more about his motive behind it and everything he's trying to achieve.
Which is great, which is absolutely wonderful. So a fantastic start to this movie at this point. And part 2, which we do this time next week, is called The Age of Heroes. And so in this chapter, I think we get to see those missing components we didn't see in chapter 1. But this is a hell of a movie. It really is. I mean, I don't think we're giving anything away. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm overselling it, but I've watched it a few times now, and I just love every second of this. And, you know, as somebody who is interested in this world, who plays in this world just a little bit, just seeing that a filmmaker, you know, gets his true vision on screen in such a way, and never been done before. So the fact that he delivered such an epic piece of cinema is just wonderful. And you remember, Rick, I was the one saying that, hey, man, that you could go to all this effort and the movie could be shit house.
Shit. That's correct. That's right. You did.
I was going on about that. And I'm so pleased to hear that I was wrong in that instinct.
You know, it's got some great reviews on, obviously, you know, on a lot of reviews. There are some people out there that
can't get over the aspect ratio.
They reckon the whole thing's terrible. And it's like, you're looking at it, I'm like, okay. I mean, look, everyone has their own opinion. Everyone, you know,
it's subjective.
This is how they wanted it, and that's fine, you know. But, you know, 4 hours for me was just, it was a masterpiece. It really was.
It was.
This is what it should have been.
From the well, you couldn't have.
After.
That's the problem. You couldn't have released this version at cinema. We would have got a chopped up version at cinema. So everything played out as it should. Now, you know, Josh Whedon. I wonder how his week's been. You know, after all this, you know, I mean, like, how would you be? You know,
what about all the, you know, cinema, the execs that used to come to the set and criticize?
Yeah. I mean,
how he was
and it wasn't just Josh.
It wasn't.
Josh was given the clear run to do what he wanted to do, so he did his version. No, a lot of the executives were compliant and actually pushing to make this happen. So at the end of the day, I wonder how they feel today after seeing something that generally is being loved and adored.
Well, you heard about what happened when the day that it got released. The servers crashed on HBO. Or billions of people were going to watch it straight away. I love it.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, you know, I was worried about our local streaming service, which is called Binge, but luckily we got through it. So no, it's great. I mean, that's going to happen for Disney and for Warner Brothers when for HBO Max, as they bring out these massive titles. I think Disney almost crashed the other day with Falcon and the Winter Soldier as well. So So that's it, guys. We've done our first chapter. It's called Don't Count on a Batman. Next week, we get into part 2, chapter 2, Age of Heroes. So I'll be really keen on getting a bit more into that. What we want from you guys in the meantime, and especially in these live shows, because they will be live every week on a Monday night at 7:30 local time here in Australia.
South Australian time. We want you to engage, have a chat. Tell us what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? When we're talking about certain scenes, get on there and say, you guys are full of shit. That was awful. If we want to know about it, we definitely want you to engage. So until next week at the same time, that's it for me, Rick. That's it from me too, guys. And don't forget to catch us up on Friday night as well for our other live show, guys. We'll be doing our Falcon and the Winter Soldier
episode 2.
Episode 2, yes. So, guys, check that out as well. So
I'll watch that a couple more times too since we did our live after show. Really love that episode 2. But that's another show. We'll talk about that then. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week in the Justice League chapter breakdown, part 2. The Age of Heroes. We'll see you guys.